Going on, everyone? It's Bongseni Dlamini here, back here with another video. So it's been a while since we dropped a video, so we might as well just do another one. So today I've got like a special presentation, I would say, rather that today I want to talk about ETPs, ETFs, and exchange traded notes. So the difference is between these three assets, how do they differ from one another. So we're gonna discuss ETPs and then define ETFs and then ETNs, and then we're going to check out ETFs again as an asset. So let's dig in on it now. So guys, what is an ETF? Ne? What is an ETF? So an ETF is an exchange traded product. Ne? An ETP is an exchange traded product. Ne? So these are types of securities that track an underlying security such as an index or any other financial instrument. So ETPs trade on an exchange similar to stocks, meaning that their price can fluctuate from day to day and intraday movements. So their price can fluctuate from a day to day perspective, and also in an intraday movement as well. So moving forward again. So some key takes again when it comes to exchange traded products. So these are type of securities that track an underlying security, right? So they are derived from another asset. So there has to be an underlying asset before there is an ETP or an ETN rather. So their share price, they come from an underlying investment, right? So they are also usually low cost alternative from an actively managed a mutual fund. So there are basically two types of exchange traded products. Firstly, there is an ETF, exchange traded fund, right? And then the second one, it's the exchange traded notes. So there's basically two of them, then an ETF and then exchange traded notes. So both these assets, they are called exchange traded products. So today what we are going to look at, an ETF. We are going to look at the first one, which is an ETF. So moving on here. So an exchange traded fund, an ETF contains a basket of investments that can include a stock, bonds, and also ETFs usually track an underlying assets. Okay, this is the third time repeating this. So the example of an underlying assets here is the S&P 500. But they can also track a certain industry. They can also track a certain industry or a particular sector in the market, or they can track a certain group of commodities as well. Even they can track certain currencies, like maybe emerging market currencies or developed market currencies as well. So these products, they trade throughout the day, just like any stocks could do. So the largest ETF again that is known in the world by far, it's like the SPY S&P 500, which tracks the S&P 500 itself again. So by definition again, so the SPDR S&P 500 Spider Trust is an exchange traded fund which trades on the New York Stock Exchange. It trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol SPDR. So this is the symbol SPDR of the spider. but it also has an acronym. The acronym stands for Standards and Poor's Depository Receipts. So this is what is called the SPY. So this fund is the largest ETF in the world, which holds close to 362 billion US dollars. So it is huge, it is massive when it comes to its value. So these are other ETFs that are there in the world. So the largest one is the SPY, this which has made an example of, which has 362 billion. And then the second largest one is the ICO S&P 500 as well. It also tracks the S&P as well. And then the Vanguard Total Market ETF as well is also big. So one of my favorites one on this list here, again, besides the Spider one, is the Invesco QQQ Trust, which tracks the Nasdaq 100. It tracks the largest 100 technology companies that are listed on the Nasdaq exchange. So as you can see, it's kind of like there's other big players here. On even the Vanguard Value ETF, it is also big and massive on its own. Even here, the Vanguard Total Bond ETF as well, it is also big and massive. So the Spider Trust, it's held by State Street Global Advisors, so an asset manager which is based in the United States. So those are just simple examples of ETFs that are there globally. So there's many other assets which fall under ETFs, but I just chose to do a simple example. The simple example that are mainly familiar in even most platforms as well. So even here in South Africa, we do have like our biggest one, which is mainly known, which is called the Satrix 40. So the Satrix 40, what it does, it tracks the JSE top 40 index. So it tracks the 40 largest companies. So by definition, Satrix has a fund size of 8.4 billion rand, and it was launched in November year 2000. So it's been there for close to 20 years now, since it's 2021 now. So it's been there for quite some time now. So it has 68,700 investors under it, and it has a total annual return of 13.9%. So it is extremely massive the ETF here on our JSE site. So it is an award-winning the Satrix 40. So they also call it the People's Choice, and it won an award when the Salsa 2020. So yeah, so it has been voted South Africa's favorite ETF, because like almost everyone, when they think of ETF, they always look at the top 40 Satrix ETF first. So just to go over like advantages of trading ETFs. So ETFs have like advantages over traditional open-end funds. So the four most prominent advantages of trading ETFs are: number one is the trading flexibility of the ETFs. They are flexible ETFs, and also they are cost effective. They have lower cost compared to other assets as well. And also you can diversify your portfolio as well using ETF. And also the risk is much more lower on ETFs, and as well they are tax beneficial ETFs. So they are a way in some form you can hedge tax in ETF, and also can hedge against inflation ETFs as well. So moving forward, so here the following ones, it's a list of ETFs that I collected myself, that I see maybe in the next coming maybe in the next coming years, maybe in the next coming decade or century per se, they are the ones that are going to be the new market leaders. Why am I saying this? Because like times are changing, né? And myself as a young person, I'm looking to make investments in assets that are going to be that are going to be beneficial in the next coming years, or in the next generation, né? So the first one that I'm gonna look at, it's the MJ alternative harvest ETF, né? So what is it, the MJ alternative harvest ETF? Basically it tracks the prime alternative index, né? So the prime alternative index itself, it is designed to measure the performance of companies within the cannabis ecosystem, né? So those cannabis companies, it's the ones that are regulated by governments around the world, that they are able to do research for medical use or recreational use using cannabis as well. So the following map here that we're gonna see here is this here. So the blue areas on the map is where cannabis is legalized for recreational use, and then the green areas here on the map, it's where cannabis it is legalized for medical use, and then I get the light blue areas, it's where cannabis is not regulated as yet around the world. So as you can see, it's gonna in Canada, most of Canada and parts of the United States, it is legal for recreational use. You see around here, there's California. You see in California, cannabis it is legal in the United States. In most of Canada, cannabis it is legal, né? So and then some states in the US are still talking about legalizing cannabis for recreational use, but some states as well it is legal for medical use. So here in South Africa, cannabis it is legal for recreational use only. It hasn't been legal for medical use as yet. So government is still talking with research companies, companies like Labat here in South Africa. They do offer cannabis programs there under it. So they are still doing some research there on the cannabis space there. So looking at again like the companies that are under the alternative harvest ETF itself. So Tilray, it's well known globally. Tilray, it's well known globally. So on the ETF or on the alternative harvest, it holds about 9%. And Canopy Growth there as well, it is there on the ETF. This one as well is also known as well globally. Hexo as well, it is a company that is really making moves on the cannabis side. So just looking at the technicals when it comes to this sector, rather, or when it comes to the alternative harvest ETF itself. So when we look at technicals, I'm just gonna pull up a chart there just now. So the ticker there for that the alternative harvest ETF is called MJ. That's the ticker code. And if you want it, it's called MJ. So there it is there at the top there. It is listed there on the Nasdaq exchange. So it is listed there on the Nasdaq exchange. So the chart there is telling us that okay, due to time, it has suffered some losses. Maybe it was due to some regulations in some countries rather, but it tried to pick up some value around there, and then it has started to move higher. So at the beginning of the year, I think it was in February, it moved in that week of February 8th, it moved like close to 30-something% higher. So I'm thinking that it still has some room to close this gap, and then it can reach close to $44. Because like more governments around the world are trying to regulate cannabis, are trying to use this type of asset for medical use and also for recreational use as well. So the next ETF that I'm going to look at is the iShare Global Clean Energy ETF. So as I said earlier on, that me as a young person, I'm trying to look at what are the things that we're going to need for in the future. So since most countries are looking at the clean energy sector nowadays, they're trying to move away from the traditional energy sources like coal. You see, so now I think solar energy, it is the one that renewable energy, it is the one that is going to take up space in the next coming years, in the next coming decade, or in the next coming century rather, because times are changing. We need to change with the times. So this ETF mainly invest in companies that do solar equipment, that also generate wind and geothermal equipment manufacturing, and then also companies that do clean energy development and construction, clean energy operation and maintenance, renewable energy generation, and then electrical distribution. Because at the end of the day, when these companies they have manufactured it, it also has to be distributed. So looking at the charts there on the iShare Global Clean Energy ETF, which is the ticker code today, it's ICLN. It's the ICLN. So it is also listed there on the Nasdaq exchange. So the global clean energy, you see, it's in recent history, it has performed like really, really, really well. It has performed really, really well. If you can look at it here, since the last year, on as much as it suffered some losses during the corona crisis, at the beginning of the corona crisis, but it did pick up some steam and up until January this year, and then it has been pulling back. But now I'm seeing that it has found some flow, it has found some value around it, and then it will start to push high again, maybe up to the $40, 55 level, even as high as the $50 level. So since clean energy is on the cards, even Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin, crypto as well, is also looking for renewable energy when it comes to mining cryptos as well. So this is going to be a very, very big sector moving forward. So another ETF that I'm really, really interested in is the ARC Innovative FinTech ETF. So this one is well known on Wall Street, and it is one of the most traded ETFs on Wall Street, because it's the ARK Invest itself. It's owned by and managed by this lady here who is well known on Wall Street, Katie Woods. So she is the fund manager there and the CEO of ARK Invest. So the ARK Innovative ETF mainly involves in innovative technology companies. So you can see that's what's again it holds close to 10% of Tesla on the ETF, and it holds about 6% of Roku, Square, Shopify, Zoom, Twilio, and it recently bought Coinbase when it listed like a few weeks ago. And then as well, they did invest in Spotify as well, and then as well Zwilio, and then my favorite stock here up in on all in this is Twilio. So we can see what's these ETFs are really making moves there. As we can see with the arc itself, it moves when the technology companies are moving. Also, this ETF moves along with them, because we can see what's in recent history. Yes, it did suffer some losses during the corona crisis, but it recovered with other technology companies as they were recovering. So as you can see, it moved higher. It has been pulling back, but now we are seeing that it is trying to move higher and to continue and resume its bullish trend that it has set. So it find value there at the $100 level. So I also myself have been tweeting a lot about this ARK Innovative ETF. So you can see it is a real deal here. There on the weekly charts, and even we can go down to the daily. We can still see that the original bullish trend is still at play. It broke out of this triangle pattern. Now it's trading outside this triangle pattern, so targeting the 158 level. So I've just mentioned 3 ETFs that are on the United States now. It's the Cannabis, the Cannabis ETF, the Alternative Harvest, and then the second one was the ICLN, the Global Clean Energy, and then I spoke about that ARK Innovative Technology ETF. So as well, here in South Africa, I did look at a few, but I'm just going to talk about only 2 on this video. So the one that I'm just looking at here, that is listed here in South Africa on the JSE, it is the Satrix Momentum ETF now. So the Satrix Momentum ETF, what I like about it, it's not focusing on one sector now. It is spread around all the sectors in the markets. So it has basic materials, consumer discretionary, technology, financials, telecommunications, consumer staples, also healthcare as well. So it is just listed in a broader base of companies rather than so. Just by looking at each chart here, the Satrix STX MMT, that is the ticker code. It's the momentum portfolio, Satrix momentum portfolio. So I've been tracking this one personally myself. It was listed introduced and listed in 2018, and it's been moving quite nicely, but every other asset went down during the corona crisis, but it has started to move higher, and now it's forming this bullish flag, this bullish flagness. So we might see a movement higher from here, the 10 rand level as high as 13, even as beyond as $50 here on the Satrix ETF. So another one that's I want to talk about is the Signia iTrix MSCI US ETF. So remember, this one is the Satrix, this one is Signia iTrix MSCI US ETF. Sorry. So it's Signia iTrix US. Yes, it's this one. And you see, because there's a world, the MSCI, there's MSCI Japan. It also tracks Japan companies. This one, it tracks US based companies. So when it tracks US based companies, it also invests in a much broader spectrum. It doesn't focus on a single sector like the energy one or like the technology ETF. It also invests on a broader spectrum. You see, they do have like some technology companies there, healthcare, consumer discretion, financials, industrial, and as well as utilities and consumer staples as well. So looking at the charts here on this Signa iTrix MSCI US, see that it has been listed, it has been there for some time now, and it has been moving very swiftly, very nicely, and now it is inside this box range which is here, and we are seeing that it's trying to break out of this range. So it break out of this range and the 57.98 level, it would blast off, maybe go to $65 and as high as $72. Why am I selecting these assets that are tracking the US market? It's because the US is much more likely to recover first from the corona crisis. So US economy is much more likely to recover first from the corona crisis as other countries are going to lag behind the US. So there's other ETFs that are there, guys. So you can also check them out. The iShare MSCI South Africa, which tracks South African companies. There are other ones. There's another one that I saw. It's offered by Old Mutual. It only tracks only gold companies here. It has been actually doing very well, very, very good. So as I said earlier on, some ETFs, they track a certain sector. So that's one tracks only mining companies that only do gold only. So it has been doing very well because gold has been outperforming some assets, because when everything went down, gold tried to move even higher. So just to point out another key terms before we close this one. So I'm just gonna say about 6 important points that are here about ETFs, exchange traded funds. So number one, ETFs are flexible for trading, right? Number two, they are transparent because you see your portfolio in real time, and the disclosure it's there, and they are cost effective, because it's a bundle of companies, so they do a calculation and then they derive the price, and then that makes it very, very cost effective, and they are convenient. So when something is cost effective, it is also convenient, and they are good for diversification for your portfolio, and also you can hedge tax using ETFs. You can also hedge against inflation using ETFs. And then the last point there, they are better at risk management. The risk is much more lower on ETFs than other traditional instruments. So guys, I hope this video will be educational. So this was just a simple breakdown to introduce people who do not know what are ETFs, and then how to select an ETF, and these are the ones that I personally myself I will invest in them. So you can follow me on my socials, guys. I'm on TradingView, it's Bo Dlamini. Facebook, it's Interprec Asset Management. Then I have my personal page on Facebook as well. It's Bo Dlamini. And then on Twitter, the business page, the business handle is Interprec Asset M, and then my personal handle is Mo underscore Dlamini. My Dlamini has an H in there, so you should be careful when you are searching for my name there. So guys, this is a risk disclaimer. Trading CFDs or leverage products involves a high level of riskiness. So do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. You should be open for a disappointment when it comes to investing, because the market fluctuates quite a lot. So guys, thank you for this video. I hope it will be really educational. I'll definitely do some more content as time goes on. So thank you. I'll see you on the next video.